Is it transphobic to not want trans people in women, men-only spaces? Just start putting in more single-use gender-neutral bathrooms, then no one can complain. Not to sound like an ass, but trans make up what? 0.05% of the pop? It's overblown issue brought to light as distraction. It's just yelling and screaming to look over here so we don't look where they don't want us to. This post, these comments, the discourse. It's so exhausting having everyone hate you. I just want to pee and my 230 pounds bearded ass has no business using a women's restroom anymore. Trust me, a trans person using the restroom, locker room, changing room of the gender they identify with is way more concerned with, not getting assaulted than anything you're doing in there. I'm a trans man, assigned female at birth, 10 years of hormone replacement therapy. And there are two things I'm thinking about when I use a men's public restroom. 1. I need to pee. 2. I really hope no one beats me up in here. I DK about women's spaces, but trans dudes need a place to be around men, and I do not see it as a violation for them to be in men's spaces with me. I went to a zoo in Toronto that had genderless bathrooms. Each individual stall was its own room with just a toilet, with complete privacy. When you exit the tiny toilet closet room, the sinks were shared by men and women and children. That seems to be the most reasonable solution. Here's my take on it. If a predator is the kind of person to saw a woman in a public space, he's probably not worried about making sure people think he's a trans woman so he can enter that woman-only space. What stops men from entering women's only spaces? Nothing. They want to RPE someone in the bathroom they just go in. Signs won't help. It's not the matter of trans people. It's the matter of common sense. Edit. To clarify my view, I think this whole argument of people with certain body parts entering only a fab spaces is just an excuse to be transphobic. Trans is nothing new. Men transitioning to women have been using women's bathrooms for years. Guess what? Nothing happens because they just want to take a piss in the room they feel comfortable in. This is a non-issue. I've always thought this was such a stupid argument. Yes, a trans person could be in the bathroom with women and be a predator. But to act like they're only a predator because of the woman sign on the bathroom is such a stupid idea. That person would be a predator. Nobody says, oh, because I'm allowed in a woman's bathroom, that's gonna make me decide to be a predator. This is such a minor thing that gets blown out of proportion. There is such a small amount of trans people. Most of them you would never know were trans. Nobody is going to go through years of transition, purposely draw attention to themselves. Transitioning always does, with the sole purpose of getting into a bathroom to sexually assault someone. If a trans woman is threatening a woman, it's the threatening that's the problem, not the fact that she's trans. Fortunately, this basically never happens. A woman is about 1,000,000 times more likely to be harmed by a man than a trans woman. Your mom has drank the Kool-Aid. Look, speaking as a trans man, I am more than weary of women only and women and femmes spaces. And I don't want to be anywhere near them. Obviously, this whole thing is trans-misogynistic from the get-go, as it directly targets trans women and basically says, you are not woman enough for women only spaces. It also targets trans men by misgendering them directly, and when not, these spaces are directly hostile to us because we are seen as traitors to women. But it also is a safety issue. Gender nonconformity makes you a target, from the way you dress to the way you talk, walk, your hair. Anything transgressive can put you at danger. Again, speaking from experience. Let's say, if we are only talking about bathrooms, something that can't be avoided, as much as I would like, someone who is visibly gender non-conforming going to a men's bathroom can be put in serious danger of harassment and even assault. I am more androgynous, and every time I have to go to a public toilet I have to ponder the question, am I going to risk getting beaten up or yelled at? Quote, and I vastly prefer getting yelled at in a women's restroom than potential beaten up in a men's one. Also, this question in itself is disingenuous, because it shows that the person asking it has more issues with trans people existing rather than the comfort of cis women. Men go in women's toilets all the time. To change a diaper, help someone, cleaning, or just washing their hands. But we never see this contested, do we? Actually, the same exact argument used to be made about lesbians in public bathrooms and change rooms once upon a time. But you wouldn't say that a lesbian shouldn't be allowed in women-only spaces because she might make straight women uncomfortable, do you? This also brings another question. How do you check? Do we put guards in front of women's bathrooms? Do we make them go through a genital check before going in? Wouldn't that make them even more uncomfortable than just being in a space with a trans person? And personally, if I see a space being advertised as women only, no trannies allowed, I'm running as fast as I can in the opposite direction and advising my cis women friends to do the same. Wouldn't trust those people with telling me the correct time while the clock is in front of us. The trans women using the restroom are there to blend in as much as possible and use the toilet. I think it's misguided to feel threatened by them simply because they may have a penis. Yes, it's transphobic. Yes, her arguments are also thinly veiled nonsense theories without merit. Transgender people aren't out harassing, murdering, assaulting people en masse. In fact, the statistics show the opposite. At the bottom I linked a study. If you're actively looking at people's genitals while they change equals you're the problem. In a bathroom everyone gets a stall. So if you're again looking at someone's genitals equals you're the problem. Even at a urinal you have to go out of your way to see an actual penis. Here's a study. Transgender people over 4 times more likely than cisgender people to be victims of violent crime. The link gives a summary and provides the primary source of the study as well. Why don't we all agree that the bathroom starts at the stalls and can't be shared? Yes, it's transphobic. How would they check, anyway? Body cavity search? Okay, here is the scenario. You are in line to use the toilet. A woman in front of you seems to be large and have a slightly hairy upper lip. What do? Demand to see some ID? If she has had transition surgery, her ID will say, female. Or do you ask to see her vagina? How do you differentiate between masculine-looking women, who maybe have hormone imbalances, and trans women? You do realize that most trans women just look like ordinary women, right? I would simply not ask. Wait my turn and use the toilet. Yes, it is transphobic. You are demanding that trans individuals have no space they can morally interact with. Because 99% of washrooms are divided male-female. You're afraid of creeps abusing the freedom to self-identify. But here's the deal. Creeps are going to be creeps even without the excuse of self-identification. You aren't protecting yourself by limiting accessibility to trans individuals. In fact, you'll find drag trans individuals are infinitely less likely to harass or assault anyone than a cis Christian male. So it comes down to limiting accessibility for a group of people for the sake of protecting yourself from a non-threat. I've used the men's washroom when the ladies' lineup was ridiculous. Nobody cared. Aside from that, I probably wouldn't notice a trans person in the washroom. People making a big deal about nothing. Don't you have lockable bathroom stalls and changing cubicles? What does it matter who is in the common areas anyway? Number 1. And number 2, women can be perverts too. So really, if you're worried about these things, I dunno, just stay at home.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.